Build doors where you find walls. A guide to turning obstacles into opportunities. Chapter 1. The wall in front of you. There is a sound every one of us recognizes. It's not a sound our ears can hear, but one our heart feels. It's the dull, soul-thudding thump of coming to a dead stop. It's the sound of a wall. It might be the wall of a rejection letter for a job you were certain was yours. It could be the wall of a doctor's diagnosis that changes your life in an instant. It can be the slow, creeping wall of realizing the career path you've been on for a decade leads nowhere you want to go. Or the sudden, jarring wall of a relationship ending. It's the wall of financial hardship, of creative block, of systematic barriers that seem impossibly high. These walls are not gentle. They don't suggest you turn around. They are absolute. They rise up from the ground, blocking the sun, casting a long, cold shadow over the path you thought you were on. They are solid, formidable, and they all say the same thing in their silent, imposing way. You cannot pass. My wall appeared on a Tuesday. I had spent 2 years of my life pouring everything I had into a startup venture with 2 partners. It was my passion, my purpose, and my financial future all rolled into one. We had a product we believed in, a team that worked tirelessly, and what we thought was a clear path to success. The wall arrived in the form of an email from our primary investor. The market had shifted, they said. They were pulling our funding effective immediately. Thump. The path vanished. The future I had meticulously planned crumbled. For a week, all I could do was stare at that wall. I felt its cold stone against my face. I traced its mortar lines with my finger, each line representing a different mistake I thought I'd made, a different regret. The sheer, solid reality of it was paralyzing. The wall told me I had failed. It told me I wasn't good enough. It told me to give up and go home. And for a little while, I believed it. This is the first and most critical moment we face when we encounter an obstacle. It is a moment of profound choice. We have 2 options. Option 1 is to accept the wall's reality. We can sit down in its shadow, lament its existence, and complain about the unfairness of a path being blocked. We can camp out there telling stories to anyone who will listen about the size of the wall and the injustice of it all. We can let the wall define the end of our journey. This is the mindset of the victim. It's a passive state of being, where life is something that happens to you. Option 2 is to look at the wall differently. It is to walk up to it, run your hands over its surface and acknowledge its existence without accepting its finality. It's to see it not just as an obstacle, but as a collection of raw materials. It's to take a deep breath, step back, and ask the question that changes everything. How do I get through? This is the mindset of the builder. It's an active state of being where life is something you co-create. This book is about choosing the second option every single time. It's about understanding that walls are an inevitable, unavoidable, and even necessary part of any life worth living. If you aren't hitting walls, you probably aren't moving. You're not pushing boundaries or challenging yourself. The journey to anywhere meaningful is littered with walls. The question is not whether you will face them, but what you will do when you do. You can spend your life complaining about the walls, or you can decide to become a person who builds doors. Building a door is not a magic trick. It is an act of creativity, will, and profound courage. It is the refusal to accept a dead end. It means looking at a solid barrier and seeing an opportunity for a breakthrough. It's the process of transforming a situation that says, stop here, into a situation that says, start here. It's about taking the very thing that was meant to block you and turning it into the frame for your next chapter. In the chapters to come, we will explore the blueprints for this process. We will learn how to identify the architecture of our walls, how to gather our tools, how to design a plan, and how to do the hard work of construction even when we fail. We will learn that we don't have to build alone. But it all begins here, in this moment, standing before the cold, hard face of your own wall, the one that's in front of you right now, or the one you know is waiting for you up ahead. I want you to look at it, truly see it, acknowledge its height, its width, and the fear it inspires. Now, take a deep breath. It's time to pick up a hammer. It's time to start building. Chapter 2. The Architecture of Obstacles. A wall is not just a wall. It's a structure. And like any structure, it has a design, a purpose, and weak points. To the passive observer, a wall is just an impassable monolith. But to a builder, it's a puzzle. Before you can build a door, you must first understand the architecture of the obstacle in front of you. If you don't know what your wall is made of, you can't choose the right tools to break through it. Most obstacles we face aren't random piles of stone. They fall into distinct categories, each requiring a different approach, a different blueprint for the door you intend to build. 1. The walls of no. This is perhaps the most common type of wall. It's built from the bricks of rejection. The job you didn't get, the promotion that went to someone else, the publisher who passed on your manuscript, the investor who wouldn't take your meeting. Each no is a brick, and enough of them can build a formidable barrier that seems to shout, "You are not wanted here." These walls are designed to test your conviction. They are painful because they feel personal, like a judgment on your worth. The danger of this wall is that you might start to believe its message. The wall of scarcity. These walls are constructed from a perceived lack of resources. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. I don't have the right connections or the right degree. This wall is insidious because it often feels practical and logical. It's not an outright rejection, but a seemingly rational barrier. The wall of scarcity preys on our logic, convincing us that the project is impossible before it even begins. It's a wall that whispers, "You can't afford to build a door." The internal walls. These are the most treacherous walls of all, because we build them ourselves. They are made from the invisible, yet incredibly strong materials of fear, self-doubt, procrastination, and our own limiting beliefs. An external wall is something you can confront, but an internal wall is a prison where you are both the inmate and the guard. It's the voice that says, "Who are you to try this?" Or, "You're gonna fail, so why bother starting?" These walls don't block a path. They block your potential. You can have an open field in front of you, but if you've built an internal wall, you'll never take the first step. The walls of circumstance. These walls are often the most sudden and disorienting. They are the unexpected life events that knock you off your feet. A health crisis, a family emergency, a global pandemic, an economic downturn. These walls are not your fault. They are impartial and impersonal, rising up without warning. Because they feel so random and overwhelming, the great temptation is to surrender to them, to see yourself as a victim of fate. This wall doesn't just block your path, it shakes the very ground you stand on. Understanding the type of wall you're facing is the first step in your architectural survey. It allows you to move from a state of emotional reaction, "This is awful," to a state of strategic analysis. Okay, what am I dealing with here? Exercise. Mapping your walls. Take a piece of paper or open a new document. Think about the primary obstacle standing in your way right now. Now answer the following questions. Describe the wall in one sentence. For example, I can't start my business because I have no funding. What category does it fall into? Is it primarily a wall of no, scarcity, an internal wall, or a wall of circumstance? It may be a combination, but identify the main component. What is this wall telling you? What is the core message it seems to be sending? For example, you aren't credible enough. You're not financially responsible. You're not ready. What materials is it made of? List the specific bricks. For example, 3 investor rejections, my savings account balance, my fear of failure, the memory of a past business that failed. Keep this map. This is not a list of your failures. It is a survey of your construction site. It is the beginning of your blueprint. Chapter 3. The View from the Top, or Through the Cracks. When faced with a wall, our instinct is to stand right in front of it, staring up at its overwhelming size. From this vantage point, the wall is everything. It fills our vision, blocks out the light, and seems to stretch infinitely in all directions. It's an effective, if unintentional, form of self-intimidation. But a builder knows that your first perspective is rarely the most useful one. To understand a structure, you have to move. You need to see it from different angles, in different light. The simple act of changing your perspective can reveal weaknesses, opportunities, and solutions that are completely invisible from head-on. A wall that looks solid from the front might be crumbling at the back. A wall that seems high might be surprisingly narrow if you just walk a few paces to the side. This is the practice of cognitive reframing. It's the mental skill of consciously shifting your viewpoint to find a more empowering and resourceful one. It's about stopping the story of, I can't because, and starting the story of, I can if. Let's look at the walls we identified in the last chapter and see how a simple shift in perspective can change everything. The wall of no. From the front, this wall says, you're not good enough. But what if you step to the side? A no is not a judgment of your worth. It is a piece of data. Perhaps the no is telling you that your approach was wrong. Perhaps it's telling you that you pitched to the wrong person. Perhaps that closed door is protecting you from an opportunity that wasn't right for you. Reframe. Instead of, they rejected me, try, this approach didn't work. What can I learn from the feedback? Or, that wasn't the right fit. Where is a better one? The wall of scarcity. Head on, this wall says you don't have what it takes. But from a different angle, a lack of resources is a mandate for creativity. Constraints breed innovation. When you don't have money, you learn to be resourceful. When you don't have time, you learn to be ruthlessly efficient. Reframe. Instead of, I don't have enough money, try, what can I accomplish with the resources I do have? Or, how can I achieve this goal more resourcefully? The internal wall. Staring this wall in the face is paralyzing. It just reflects your own fear back at you. But if you could hover above it, you would see it for what it is, a construct of your own thoughts. It isn't made of stone, it's made of assumptions. And an assumption can be challenged and dismantled. Reframe. Instead of, I'm not qualified enough, ask, what is one small skill I can learn that would make me feel more qualified? Instead of, what if I fail, ask, what if I succeed? What would be the first step? The wall of circumstance. From the ground, this wall looks like a cruel act of fate. It feels like the universe is against you. But if you can pull back, you might see that a sudden change, while painful, has also cleared away old patterns and forced you onto a new path you may never have chosen, but one that could lead to unexpected growth. Reframe. Instead of, why did this happen to me? Try, now that this has happened,
who do I need to become to handle it? Or what new possibilities has this crisis opened up? Changing your perspective is an active process. It requires you to interrupt your own negative feedback loop. When you feel that familiar sense of being blocked, stop, breathe, and then, physically or mentally, move. Walk around the problem. Talk to someone with a completely different background. Ask yourself, what's a completely ridiculous way I could solve this? The goal is to shake your brain out of its rut and force it to see the wall not as a solid, but as something permeable, with cracks, crevices, and handholds you simply hadn't noticed before.
Chapter 4. Gathering Your Tools. No builder, no matter how visionary, can construct a door with their bare hands. Before the first swing of the hammer, before the first brick is moved, a builder must take inventory of their tools. When you are standing in front of your wall, it's easy to feel powerless and empty-handed, but you already possess a toolkit, one you've been assembling your entire life, often without realizing it. The first step is to recognize the tools you already have. 1. Your existing toolkit, the workshop of your life. Your personal toolkit is filled with every experience you've ever had, every skill you've ever learned, and every challenge you've ever overcome. Strengths and skills. This is the most obvious part of your kit. Are you a great communicator, a meticulous planner, a creative thinker? Can you code, write, cook, or build spreadsheets like a master? These are your power tools. Make a list. Be honest and generous with yourself. Don't discount anything. That silly hobby of building miniature models might have given you incredible patience and attention to detail. Past successes. Think back to every wall you've ever faced and gotten through. The tough exam you passed, the difficult conversation you had, the time you moved to a new city knowing no one. Each of these is a testament to your ability. They are proof that you have built doors before, even if they were small ones. These memories are your whetstones for sharpening your belief in yourself. Knowledge and curiosity. Everything you've ever learned is a tool. The books you've read, the documentaries you've watched, the podcasts you've listened to. Your curiosity is the magnet that adds tools to your collection. 2. Acquiring new tools, the lifelong apprenticeship. Sometimes you'll take inventory and realize you're missing a specific tool for the job at hand. The wall you're facing requires a skill you don't have yet. The builder doesn't see this as a dead end. They see it as a trip to the hardware store. The mindset of a builder is one of a lifelong learner. If you don't know how to do something, you can learn. In today's world, there's almost no skill that is out of reach. You can learn to code online, take a public speaking course, watch videos on financial planning, or find a mentor who has faced a similar wall. Acquiring new tools is an act of proactive hope. It is you telling the universe, I may not be ready today, but I am getting ready. 3. The master tool, a resilient mindset. You can have the most well-stocked workshop in the world, but if you don't have the will to pick up the tools and use them, they are just decorations. The most important tool, the one that powers all the others, is your mindset. A resilient mindset isn't about being endlessly positive or pretending that setbacks don't hurt. They do. Resilience is the ability to feel that hurt and still choose to take the next step. It's the belief that your effort matters. It's the quiet whisper that says, let's try one more time, after the loud shout of failure. This mindset is forged, not found. You build it by using your other tools. Every time you leverage a strength, learn a new skill, or remind yourself of a past success, you are strengthening your resilience.
It's the master tool that allows you to keep showing up at the construction site day after day, especially on the days you don't feel like it. Before we move on to drafting the plans for your door, take the time to lay out your tools. Write them all down. Admire your collection. See how much you are already bringing to this challenge. You are not empty-handed. You are a well-equipped builder standing before a pile of raw materials.
Chapter 5. Drafting the Schematics. From Problem to Plan. You've surveyed your wall. You've reframed your perspective. You've taken inventory of your tools. Now the real work of the architect begins. You cannot build a sturdy, functional door with wishful thinking. You need a blueprint. A plan turns a vague desire, I want to get through this wall, into a concrete, actionable project. This is where many of us get stuck. The gap between seeing the problem and knowing the exact steps to solve it can feel like a chasm. To bridge it, we need a process for generating ideas and then refining them into a workable strategy. Step 1. The door storming session. This isn't just brainstorming. It's a specific kind of creative session focused on generating entry points. The goal here is not to find the perfect solution right away. The goal is quantity over quality. You want to give yourself a wealth of options to choose from. Grab a whiteboard or a large piece of paper. At the top, write down your goal. What's on the other side of the wall? Then, set a timer for 15 minutes and generate as many answers as you can to the following questions. What's the most direct, obvious way to get through? For example, apply for a bank loan. What if I had to do it with zero money? This forces resourcefulness. What if I had to do it in half the time? This forces you to find shortcuts. Who could I ask for help? List names, even if they feel like a long shot. What's the most ridiculous, playful, or unconventional way I could do this? For example, start a crowdfunding campaign to get my cat elected mayor to raise funds. Silly ideas often contain a kernel of genius. What if I couldn't go through it? How would I go around it, over it, or under it? This explores alternative paths. During this session, there is one critical rule: no judgment. Don't edit yourself. Don't analyze feasibility. Just write. The goal is to flood the page with possibility. Step 2. From idea to strategy. Once your timer goes off, look at your list. You'll likely have a mix of practical ideas, long shots, and absurdities. Now it's time to put on your engineer's hat. Circle the top 3 to 5 ideas that feel most energizing or intriguing, even if they don't seem fully practical yet. For each of these top ideas, start to flesh it out. Ask, what would be the very first, smallest step I would need to take to explore this idea? Not the whole plan, just the first step. For example, Google small business grants. Draft an email to my mentor. Outline a one-page business plan. What tools and resources would this specific idea require? Refer back to your inventory from Chapter 4. What is the biggest risk or unknown with this approach? This process helps you move from the abstract idea to the concrete approach. You're starting to see the shape of your door. Step 3. Breaking down the build. You don't build a door all at once. You build it piece by piece. The frame, the panels, the hinges, the doorknob. The final step in drafting your schematic is to take your chosen approach and break it down into the smallest possible tasks. If your plan is to get a new certification to change careers, that's not a task. It's a project. A task is something you can do in a single session. Break it down. Research certification programs online. Compare top 3 programs on cost and duration. Contact one program to ask questions. Update my budget to see if I can afford the tuition. Fill out the application form. A long list of small, clear tasks is infinitely less intimidating than one huge, vague goal. It's a step-by-step construction manual.
This is your blueprint. It might change as you go. In fact, it probably will. But you can't start building without one. This plan is your guide for the first swing of the hammer, which is exactly what we'll cover in the next part.
Chapter 6: The Keystone of Why. A blueprint is a map, and tools provide the means, but neither can give you the energy to build. Construction is hard work. It's dusty, demanding, and filled with setbacks. The single most important element, the one that will keep you going when you're tired and tempted to quit, is your why. In architecture, a keystone is the central stone at the top of an arch that locks all the others into position. Without it, the arch collapses. Your why is the keystone of your motivation. It's the deep, personal, and powerful reason you want to get to the other side of the wall. Your why isn't a superficial goal, like, I want more money, or I want a new job. It's the answer to the next question. Why do you really want that? Do you want more money to provide security for your family? That's a why. Do you want a new job to do work that feels meaningful and aligned with your values? That's a why. Before you swing the first hammer, you must define what's on the other side of the wall that makes the entire difficult process of building a door worthwhile. When your motivation is connected to your core values, security, freedom, creativity, community, purpose, it becomes an inexhaustible source of fuel. Your blueprint tells you what to do. Your tools tell you how to do it. But your why is what will get you out of bed and onto the construction site every single morning. Chapter 7: The First Swing: Taking Decisive Action. You have your blueprint. Your tools are laid out. Your why is burning brightly, casting a warm light on the cold face of the wall. There is nothing left to do but begin. And yet, this is often the hardest part. This is the moment when the internal walls we spoke of earlier rise to their full height. The voice of doubt whispers that your blueprint is flawed, that your tools are inadequate, that your why isn't strong enough. The fear of swinging and missing, of the hammer bouncing uselessly off the stone, can be paralyzing. We get lost in analysis paralysis, endlessly sharpening our tools and redrawing our schematics, waiting for the perfect moment to start. The perfect moment will never come. The only moment you have is now, and the only way to begin is to begin. This is where you must overcome the inertia of planning with the sheer force of action. The secret is to make the first action so small, so non-intimidating, that the voice of fear has no reason to protest. I call this the minimum viable action. It's not build a door. It's not even build a door frame. It's pick up one piece of wood. It's send one email. It's make one phone call. It's write one paragraph. It is the smallest possible physical action that moves you from a state of pure potential into a state of kinetic energy. Why does this work? Because of the power of momentum. An object at rest stays at rest. An object in motion stays in motion. That first, tiny push is the most difficult, but once you are moving, even just an inch, the next inch is easier, and the one after that is easier still. The first swing of the hammer doesn't have to shatter the wall. Its purpose is simply to make a sound, the sound of action. It's the declaration that you are no longer a spectator of your problem. You are an active participant in its solution.
That single chink of your hammer against the stone changes your relationship with the wall forever. You have made your mark. Don't think about the monumental task of building a whole door. Just focus on the first swing. Identify your minimum viable action right now. What is the smallest, simplest thing you can do in the next 5 minutes that aligns with your blueprint? Do it. Don't overthink it. Don't wait until you feel ready. Action is the cure for fear. Take the first swing and then the next. You will be amazed at how quickly the rhythm of work builds a momentum that doubt cannot stop.
Chapter 8: Setbacks and Structural Failures. You swing the hammer. It connects with the wall, and a tiny chip of stone flies off. It's exhilarating. You swing again, harder this time. Thud. Your hammer bounces back, stinging your hands. You've hit a part of the wall that is stronger than you anticipated. You try a different spot, and a large crack appears, but it runs in the wrong direction, threatening the structural integrity of the very opening you're trying to create. This is the messy, frustrating, and absolutely essential reality of construction. Things will go wrong. Your initial plan, no matter how brilliant, will not survive its first contact with the real world. You will encounter unforeseen problems. You will make mistakes. There will be moments where it feels like for every 2 steps forward, you take 1 or 3 steps back. A person who has never built anything sees this as failure. They see the rubble and the misaligned frame as proof that they should give up. They throw down their tools in frustration and walk away, leaving a half-finished, broken mess. A builder sees this as feedback. Every setback, every structural failure is a source of invaluable data. It is the wall talking to you, telling you its secrets. The spot where your hammer bounced back, it taught you where the wall is strongest and where you need a more powerful tool or a different approach. The crack that ran in the wrong direction, it revealed a hidden fault line, teaching you something new about the material you're working with. The frame that didn't fit, it gave you precise measurements for the next one you build. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of the process of succeeding. It is a tuition you pay for a real-world education in your specific problem. The key is to learn from the rubble. When you have a setback, you must resist the urge to get emotional and instead get curious. Ask the builder's questions. What exactly went wrong here? Why did it go wrong? What was the root cause? What did this teach me about the wall or my approach? How can I use this new information to adjust my blueprint? This is the art of the pivot. It's the ability to adapt your plan based on the feedback you're getting from your actions. A rigid builder whose ego is tied to their original blueprint will keep trying the same failed approach over and over, blaming the wall for being difficult. A resilient builder understands that the blueprint is a hypothesis, and their job is to refine it based on real-world testing. They embrace the rubble, knowing that within it lies the knowledge they need to build better. Chapter 9: The Power of the Crew. You don't build alone. There is a romantic and deeply flawed myth of the lone genius who toils away in isolation and emerges with a masterpiece. In reality, no significant door is ever built by one person. Stand at any construction site and you will see a team. Architects, engineers, electricians, masons, plumbers. Each person brings a specialized skill to the project, and the final structure is a testament to their combined effort. When you are facing your wall, it's easy to feel isolated. It's your problem, your obstacle. But to insist on building your door entirely by yourself is an act of arrogance, and it is strategically foolish. You are limiting your project to the scope of your own skills, your own energy, and your own perspective. You need a crew. Your crew is the support system that will help you build bigger, better, and faster than you ever could alone. They come in many forms. Mentors. These are the master builders who have constructed doors through walls similar to yours. They can look at your blueprint and immediately spot a flaw you would have taken months to discover. They offer wisdom, guidance, and the invaluable perspective of experience. Allies. These are the people building alongside you, facing their own walls. They don't have the answers for you, but they understand the struggle. They are there for mutual encouragement, to share tools, and to remind you that you are not crazy for trying. Specialists. These are people who have a tool you don't have. It might be a friend who is an expert at marketing, a family member who can help with childcare so you have time to work, or a professional you hire to handle a task outside your skill set. Supporters. This is your cheering section. They may not understand the technical details of your project, but they understand you. They are the ones who bring you a hot meal when you're working late and who remind you of your why when you are covered in dust and on the verge of giving up. Assembling your crew requires humility. It requires you to admit that you don't have all the answers. You must learn how to ask for help, not in a vague, desperate way, like, "Can someone help me?" but in a clear, specific way, like, "Could you look at this business plan and give me your feedback on the financial projections?" People are far more willing to help when they know exactly what is needed. Never mistake asking for help as a sign of weakness. It is a sign of a smart builder who knows that a collaborative project is always stronger than a solitary one.
Chapter 10. Installing the hinges. The importance of flexibility. You've done it. Through persistence, learning, and the help of your crew, you have an opening in the wall. You have built a beautiful, solid oak door exactly to the specifications of your original blueprint. You lift it into the opening, ready for the triumphant final step, only to find that it doesn't quite fit. The opening, shaped by the realities of the wall, is slightly different from the one you designed. The door scrapes against the frame, unable to open. A beautiful door that cannot open is just another wall. This final stage of construction is where the most subtle and important work happens: installing the hinges. Hinges are what give a door its function. They are the point of connection between the solid door and the solid frame. They represent the critical element of flexibility. Your plan, your idea, your initial vision, that is the door. The reality of the world, the market, the circumstances, that is the frame. Flexibility is your ability to adapt your door to fit the frame so that it can actually swing open. This often means letting go of your attachment to the original design. You may have built a product you love, but if customers are telling you they need a slightly different feature, you have to be flexible enough to change it. You may have started with a career goal of becoming a partner at your firm, but an unexpected life event might require you to find a path with better work-life balance. You may have envisioned your door painted bright red, but you realize a subtle dark green fits the landscape better. Rigidity is the enemy of progress. Clinging to your original idea when all the evidence points to a need for change is a form of ego. A builder who is in love with their blueprint more than the function of the door will end up with a useless monument. Installing hinges means being willing to plane the edges of your door. It means sanding down the parts that don't quite fit. It means recognizing that the purpose is not to have a perfect door, but to have a door that opens. Look at your project. Where are you being rigid? Where are you clinging to an idea out of stubbornness when reality is telling you to adapt? True strength is not found in unyielding firmness, but in the supple, powerful flexibility of a well-oiled hinge.
Chapter 11. The Moment of Truth. Walking Through. The hinges are set. The handle is polished. You turn it, and with a soft click, the latch releases. The door you envisioned, planned, and painstakingly built swings open, revealing the world on the other side of the wall. This is the moment of truth. It is a moment of quiet, profound triumph. For so long, your focus has been on the wall, its texture, its strength, its intimidating presence. Now, a pathway exists where there was none. Sunlight streams through the opening, illuminating the dust motes from your labor. You can smell the air from the other side. And yet, it can be a surprisingly hesitant moment. After spending so much time fighting the obstacle, it can feel strange to leave it behind. The struggle became familiar, a part of your identity. Stepping through the door means leaving that battle behind and embracing a new, unknown reality. Walking through is an act of faith. It's the final, declarative step that solidifies your achievement. You are no longer the person who is stopped by the wall. You are the person who has passed through it. The first few steps on the other side are often wobbly. The landscape may be different from what you imagined. It can be exhilarating and disorienting all at once. This is the new territory you have earned. Navigating it is a different skill from building, but one that is just as important. Take time to get your bearings. Acknowledge the strangeness and the excitement. Most importantly, before you rush forward into this new landscape, you must pause at the threshold, look back at the opening you created, and celebrate the win. Acknowledging your achievement is not an act of ego. It is the act of cementing the lesson. It is you telling yourself, I faced a wall and I built a door. I can do this. This celebration doesn't have to be a grand party. It can be a quiet moment of reflection. It can be sharing the story with your crew. It is the conscious act of honoring your own agency, your own power, and the hard work that turns an obstacle into an opening. Without this pause, you risk immediately looking for the next wall and treating your success as just another item on a checklist. Celebrate the moment. You didn't just find a way through, you created one.
Chapter 12. A Hallway of Doors. A Life of Continuous Creation. After you walk through your first door, you will eventually come to a realization. The world is full of walls. And this is not a depressing thought. It is the most exciting realization of all. The process you learned of surveying the obstacle, gathering your tools, drafting a blueprint, and doing the hard work was never just about that one single wall. It was a masterclass in a lifelong skill. You didn't just build a door. You became a builder. Life is not a single path that is either open or blocked. It is a series of rooms and corridors. And to move through it with purpose and creativity is to walk down a hallway of your own making, lined with doors you have built. Each door leads to a new room with new challenges, and inevitably new walls. The difference is that now you no longer see walls as endings. You see them as invitations. You start to get curious about them. You might even begin to seek them out, actively looking for the challenges that will force you to grow, to learn new skills,
and to build something you haven't built before. This is the fundamental shift from a reactive life to a creative one. You are no longer just a traveler hoping for a clear path. You are an architect and an explorer, deliberately choosing which walls are worthy of your effort. You transform from someone who encounters obstacles into someone who seeks opportunities for growth. Some doors you build will be small and simple, leading to minor improvements. Others will be grand, ornate, and life-changing, requiring years of effort. The materials will always be different, and the tools will need updating. But the core principles remain the same. The fear will never vanish completely, but now you have something stronger, the quiet confidence of a skilled craftsperson. You know that no matter how high the wall, a door is always possible.
Chapter 13. Leaving the door unlocked. You have walked through your door into a new reality. You have embraced your identity as a builder, ready for the next wall. There is one final, crucial step in this journey. You must turn around and leave the door unlocked for others. The knowledge you gained in your struggle is a gift. The story of how you transformed your wall into a door is a blueprint that can inspire and instruct someone who is currently sitting in the shadow of their own obstacle, feeling hopeless. Sharing your process is one of the most generous things a builder can do. It is your responsibility and your privilege to become part of someone else's crew. You can be the mentor you wished you had, offering guidance to those whose walls you recognize. You can be the ally who encourages another builder when their own hammer feels too heavy to lift. You can be the supporter who simply reminds someone of their own strength. A door that only you can pass through is a limited success. A door that you leave open, creating a pathway for others to follow, is a legacy. It is the act of turning your personal victory into a communal resource. It ensures that your hard work doesn't just serve you, but contributes to a world where more people feel empowered, where more people see possibilities instead of dead ends. Your story, the failures, the pivots, the small wins, the final breakthrough, is now one of the most valuable tools in your workshop. Share it freely.
Conclusion. There is no wall you cannot breach. We began this journey at the foot of a wall, feeling its cold, impassable reality. We learned that every wall has an architecture, and that seeing it from a new perspective is the first step toward dismantling its power. We gathered our tools, both old and new, and we found the courage to draw our own blueprint, fueled by the deep, resonant power of our why. We took the first swing, and we kept swinging, even when we failed. We learned from the rubble. We assembled a crew. We learned that flexibility is more powerful than rigid force. We built. And then we walked through. The core message of this book is a simple but profound truth. Your circumstances do not have the final say. The walls in your life are not the end of your story. They are the raw material from which you build your future. They are the invitations to become the architect of your own life. Look ahead. There will be other walls, but you will never see them the same way again. You are not a victim of your landscape. You are a builder. You hold the tools. You draw the plans. Now go find a wall and build a door. Epilogue. The world you build. The journey of this book began with a single wall and a single builder, you. It ends with a world transformed. Every door you create does more than just let you through. It changes the landscape. It introduces light into a place that was once in shadow. It creates a new current in the air. It proves that what once seemed permanent was in fact changeable. Now imagine a world where you are not the only builder. Imagine others inspired by their own struggles building their own doors. The entrepreneur building a door through economic hardship. The artist building a door through creative block. The community leader building a door through social division. Your door does not exist in isolation. It becomes part of a vast, interconnected network of pathways. The path you forge might lead someone else to the perfect spot to begin their own construction. The light from your opening might give another builder the hope they need to make that first swing. This is the ultimate purpose of becoming a builder. You are not just creating a path for yourself. You are a co-creator of a more accessible, more hopeful, and more creative world. You are part of a quiet, powerful revolution of people who refuse to accept the landscape as it is given. The walls will never disappear. They are a fundamental part of human experience. But so is the indomitable, creative spirit that sees a wall not as an end, but as a canvas. The world you experience is the one you have the courage to build. Go on, pick up your tools. The world is waiting.